What's up, guys? Yes. So you want to beat Napalm probably because you either think it looks cool or because it has the same song as Magma Bound. Well, in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how you can beat it. Napalm has a focus on CPS, timings, and flow gameplay, as well as good music sync. The thing is though, some parts of Napalm are much more simple than others. So instead of going into every single part in full detail, I'm going to gloss over some parts which are simpler, like the ship, and go into detail on parts which are harder, like this memory cube. Anyways, let's just go ahead and get right into the video. Welcome to the first part of Napalm. This part is not very difficult and includes both a cube and a spider. Instead of focusing on every single click because most of these clicks are easy, I'm going to focus on the harder clicks. For example, this pink dash orb. You have to tap this pink dash orb and not hold it because if you hold, you won't be able to touch this ground right here. This pink dash orb comes right after these 3 blue orbs here and then before the 3 pink orbs right here. As for these 3 pink orbs, you need to make sure that you're buffering off of this blue pad so that you jump immediately on this pink orb, and then you're going to buffer these other 2 so that you land on this platform as soon as possible. If you click these too late, you'll end up hitting this spike every single time. Also, there's an invisible pink orb right here, so you really can buffer this. The next difficult click is this pink dash orb. You have to make sure that you hold long enough so that you can click late on this yellow orb. If you don't hold, it's a little bit inconsistent, but you can do it by just tapping. The next important thing is this pink dash orb. You just want to tap it, you don't want to hold it. And then for these pink orbs, you're going to have to buffer all of them once again. The next important thing happens in the spider. You need to make sure that you tap this pink dash orb and not hold it. The next difficult click happens right here. You need to make sure that you click just before you would normally expect to click. The reason being is that the sync is lined up to be in the middle of these pink pads, although you have to click in the middle of this one pink pad. The next important thing is to make sure that you tap this pink dash orb. The last difficult click in this part is this blue orb. You want to hit it right about here, and then all you need to do is buffer the rest of the clicks in the part. Then you've made it to the drop. The drop is a little bit difficult because it is high CPS, but it is largely based on music sync, so you shouldn't have to worry too much about it. Once again, I'm just going to go over the stuff that you need to know. The first thing that you should know is that you need to click this pink orb slightly early. You won't bounce as high as you think you will, so you need to click early so that you don't hit this spike. The next difficult clicks are right here before this ship portal. These clicks, you need to make sure that you click them as fast as possible, and you want to buffer both of them. If you don't buffer these clicks, you're going to die to this spike 99% of the time, so just buffer them. Also, something that you have to know is that you have to click 3 times rather than 2 because you have to click in the ship portal in order to fly upwards. Then when you get to here, you're going to wait longer than you expect to hit this yellow orb, and then you're going to hit this green orb in the middle. Then once you reach this orb section right here, you're going to click all of these orbs at the same interval. It should sound something like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The method that this part wants you to use is the 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, but if you click at the same interval, it's much more consistent. Then for this transition, you're going to click 3 times very quickly. Then after you click those 3 times quickly, you have this black orb timing, which is a little bit rough, but you'll figure it out. After you hit this black orb, you're going to want to hit this blue orb as soon as you flip your gravity so that you don't die to this spike like I just did. After you've completed that transition, you've officially made it to the cube part. The cube part is quite difficult and includes a lot of memory, so I'm going to go over in detail how to do it. The first thing to know about this memory cube is that when you click on a platform, you do not click the orbs that follow. There will always be teleport portals which will set you up correctly. After you do the first jump, you're going to hit just this red orb and not this pink orb. And then you're going to fall right here and jump right here. After playing the part, I just realized that I actually hold off of this red orb into this click instead of clicking again. Do I recommend doing this? I'm not sure, it's really personal preference. After you jump there, you're going to hit this yellow orb and then this black orb so that you fall into this gap right here. Then once again, because you jump off a platform, you don't click these orbs and you'll be teleported to this block right here. Then you're going to just hit this black orb and then this blue orb, and you want to make sure that you don't hit this blue orb. Then you're going to click this green orb and then this red orb at pretty much any timing. Then, once again, you're going to click off of this platform and not click this orb because you will be teleported to right here. Also, you should probably know that this is a tough timing and it is late. Then, once you make it to this platform, you're going to do a double click where you click once here and then once on this black orb, and you're going to want to make sure that you do it quickly. And then you're going to click when you're right here. And then you're going to do a double click using this blue orb and this blue orb when you pass through this portal. You need to make sure that you click this blue orb right as you enter the portal because this click is a lot less lenient than the first one. Then once you jump off of this platform, you're going to hit none of these orbs until you get to this blue orb, in which case you will click it, and then you're going to buffer the black orb into the ship part. Once you enter the ship portal, there's only one thing you need to know, which is to click when you enter each portal. Also, it's useful to fall into this portal like this so that you can click here and go over this saw. Then at the last portal in the ship, you need to make sure that you click within it so that you don't die to this spike right here. Then once you make it to the wave, there's not really any tricks to it. It's pretty much just music sync. The only notable thing is that if you somehow manage to get super close to this edge right here, there's actually a gap that you can fit through to where you won't hit the cube portal. So you need to make sure that you don't frame perfect release all the way close on this edge here. Then once you've made it to this duel, it is fairly simple. All you really need to do is click to the music, except when in wave sections, you double the tempo. One notable click is that you want to hit this red orb on the upper half, not the lower half. If you click the lower half, you'll end up dying about half the time at a later spot. After playing for a little bit, I have come to the conclusion that you can actually buffer this orb right here. I thought it was a timing for the entire time that I played it. It's actually just a buffer. For this actual click, you're going to hold and then tap this yellow orb right here. You don't want to micro click it because you'll hit this spike, but you don't want to tap it too hard, otherwise you'll hit this saw. Then you click this green orb, and then in this ball portal, you're going to do do. Then you just click the blue orb back there, and then you click late on this yellow orb, and then hold so that you do not hit this pink orb. Now you've made it to what I will call the corridor. First, you're going to hold after this black orb to jump immediately. Then you're going to do 2 double clicks, one here, and then one right here. Then you're going to hold and then release right about in this portal, and then going to do 2 clicks, one here, and then you're going to click in the robot just long enough to get in between these 2 spikes right here. And then you're going to hit this black orb so that you hit this pink pad, and then you're going to hit this red orb when you make it all the way over there. Then you're going to click late in this pink orb, and then twice once you enter the ship portal so that you straight fly downwards between these spikes. Then you're going to click once in this UFO portal, and then you're going to do 2 double clicks again, one here, and then one starting here. Then you're going to hit this dash orb and hold all the way through these spikes, and then you're going to release and do 2 clicks as the wave, and then you're going to enter this ball and then hit this pink orb. Then you're going to buffer this click right here, and then you're going to hit this blue orb, and then you're going to buffer this yellow orb. You have to buffer this yellow orb so that you bump your head on the ceiling, and that way your UFOs fall fast enough to get on both sides of here and don't hit this saw. Then once you're here, you're going to click both of these red orbs, and then you're going to do 2 more double clicks, one starting in these portals, being boom boom, and then another being right here, and then on this on these orbs right here. And then you have to make sure that you click this orb right here. You cannot buffer it. Then you're going to do a triple click starting here, being boom, boom, boom. Then you're going to do yet another double click, being right here, and then on this orb right here. And then you're going to click this black orb, and then this pink orb, and then these dash orbs at pretty much any time that you would like. Then you're going to hit this red orb right here, and then you're going to hit these black orbs and hold, and then you're going to hit this red orb early and hold. All those holds are supposed to be buffers. Then you're going to buffer these yellow orbs right here, and then you buffer all 3 of these orbs. The last thing that you need to know about this part is it is music synced once again. Then you have reached what I will call the ending. It includes the UFO, the cube, and then the ship that comes right after. There's really only a few things to know, so I'll go over them quickly. The first is that in this UFO, the fourth click must be delayed. Every other click can be synced to the music, so don't really worry about doing it, just click to the music and you'll get through it, except for the fourth click, which you have to delay. Then, once you've reached this cube, the first 4 clicks continue with the rhythm of the UFO. Then, on your 5th click, you want to delay it slightly and do a double click so that you click this early and hold. When you hold, you'll jump off of this without having to click again. Then, you're going to buffer this blue orb and hold so that you jump here, and then you're going to click this red orb and then click again once you've entered this yellow portal right about here. Then you're going to hit this yellow orb and then this blue orb, and make sure not to click this blue orb early because you will hit this black orb. Then all you have to do is click right here and then click this yellow orb. I'm pretty sure that you can click all of these in the same interval if you want. You can click here, then here, then here, then here, then here at all of the same pace and you will pass it. Then after you enter the ship, you have this sort of blind click where you have to get underneath this saw and make sure you don't die to it and make sure you don't die to these spikes, but it's actually not as bad as you think, but it is a blind click, so prepare for that. Then all you have to do is do some straightforward flying, and then you're going to straight fly at the very end, and when the stuff comes out to get you, you'll see. And that is how you beat Napalm. It is not as bad as you think. Napalm is a very good level, and it's not really that hard, but the learning process is. Napalm only took me about 6,000 attempts, but I literally almost dropped it because I didn't want to learn the ending. Anyways, I hope you find this guide helpful, and I wish you the best of luck as you try to beat Napalm.